Hi, I'm Shawn from Bean Me Up. We are a 25 plus year old business in Goa. And over the years, I've met some incredible people doing some amazing things. I have spent hours talking, listening, discussing, and sharing ideas with these incredible minds. Now, it is these great minds that have prompted me to do this podcast. And our guest for today is Jack Tucker. Hey, Jack.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, yeah? And Jack has been playing all sorts of music and specifically at Bean Me Up. So Jack is almost like family for us at Bean Me Up because he's here almost every week and we get to listen to his amazing music and his amazing voice every Saturday afternoons, Jack. So and today is also Saturday. So thank you for coming.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, it was lovely. I thought you could come by because you not only come here to play music, but you're also a very strong advocate. You are like our Binmia family for us. At least that's what I feel. So I thought maybe we should do this podcast and include you in the podcast. So and give our viewers an insight of what it is like for somebody who is not Indian to live in Goa and to have the Goa experience. So, how long have you been living in Goa now, Jack?
It's 5 years aroundabouts this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how does it feel like?
It's pretty
So, you have
cool.
seen it all because now Goa or pretty much everything in the world is categorized as pre-COVID and
Yeah.
post-COVID. So, you were
Yeah.
here before COVID. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be like
So,
PD.
so you have seen the big transition happen in Goa
Yeah.
post-COVID, and you have seen all that, all the drama unfold.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
what is it like to like live in Goa
yeah, it's great.
from your perspective?
It's really, it's quite an adrenaline ride. I feel like living in Goa. Like, it's like, I personally have become much more grounded over the years, like living here. But it's like stuff I don't get used to the traffic and stuff, and driving I find very hectic. But apart from that, like I just feel like a very lucky to be here around like this kind of
The
space. It's like
weather,
a perfect balance for me where I can like work, go to the beach, like have good weather, and like, yeah, I mean, good weather, like at least like you can bank
well,
on
coming
it.
from the UK, this like any weather is good weather if it's not monsoon over here. I
Yeah, I
guess.
mean, I like it also the monsoon, but it's like it's dependable at least. So you can like the UK is very crazy. You can you can plan something and it just like you never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's cool. The weather's awesome. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really good. It's good to be
Nice.
here overall.
So, Jack, you play, what instruments do you play? I know that you play the guitar. You also mentioned that you play the piano a little
Yeah,
bit.
like
Yeah. So,
somewhat I play. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, somewhat. I'm not a pianist at all,
Ah,
but
okay.
I'm like I can play some chords and
So,
stuff.
how did this all start? So, your dad once told me, because your dad, I met your parents and I know your family as well now, and you've got an amazing family. And he said, like, oh, when you were a kid and when all of you siblings were together, he invested in music for you guys. So he was like, he made sure that all of you at least learned one music instrument. And I think that is so cool. I wish my parents did that, but anyway. So it started early for you, this journey of music,
Yeah.
I guess. So tell us about your journey, how it started, and today you are like a full time. This is your profession now. You play music. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you teach music. Well, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
But how did it start?
I guess like through the family, like exposure. I think inspiration, like just literally like my brother used to play a few instances. Like my brother used to play in bands, and you see that energy of like a
Wow, it was
live.
like a rock band, and
Yeah,
yeah,
like it was in the 90s, and like
yeah. That
Oasis were
time it was
popping
big.
off,
Yeah,
and he
yeah, yeah.
was like into that scene, and it was like live music was really like a big thing. And I think if you're young, sometimes you can get a bug. So I think that was what like gave me the fuel to like want to pick up the guitar and do it, was like seeing how music can like, it's like having the attention of people when you're young. I think looking back, I guess it's like that, like when you're in a group of people and like someone might be telling a story, everyone's focus is on them, the energy in the group shifts. I think when you're a kid, you're really aware of that, like attention, because all you want as a kid is someone
Yeah.
to like look at you and like recognize you because you're so small and everything. So I think it was a bit like that, and I noticed that like our music is like maybe like a way to like have an identity in a group or something like that, or bring something nice to an occasion. So I think that was what really made me want to do it. Monkey see, monkey do, to put it simply. But then, like, I think from a young age, as we were sort of touching on earlier, off camera, there was like being exposed to, like, my sister used to do classical piano.
Wow.
So it was like every day is like scales, like these are exercises, like melodic exercises that you do like with both hands. So you have scales, arpeggios, and like Hanon exercises, all these different things, which, like, if you're, and I used to be like in the child carrier, like by the piano. So having that exposure to those vibrations, I
Yeah.
think really like almost tuned me as a child, because I became aware of like I could sing like do re mi so fa la ti do, like before, like it was just there in me. Like that was never a struggle. Like being, I'm not like, I don't have perfect pitch or anything like that, but that was just like something, being exposed to it. It was just like, it was a strong foundation. Do you know what I mean? To like
Yeah.
build on. So
Yeah.
guitar came really easy to me.
And I think, like, as a child, your mind is like a sponge. So you just absorb things. You can
Yeah.
learn things quicker, even language, and music. I would imagine you can just
Yeah.
understand it, like, because your mind is like an open canvas at that time. So
Yeah.
anything that you want to understand is very easy to absorb, because as
Yeah.
we get older, there's just too much clutter then. in our
Yeah, I mean,
head.
especially with music, it's like literally like energy, like vibration. It's like it's really complex. And so having it, you know, people pay money to have sounds vibrated at them these
Yeah,
days. You know,
yeah.
there's like stuff going on with that was really more than we understand, also, especially for brain development. So I think that was like, yeah, that was a really nice byproduct of my dad paying for my sister's piano lessons, that I was getting like free sound healing
Absolutely,
sessions
exactly,
as a
man.
baby. That's
So
pretty
music is the language of the world, they say. You know, it's
Yeah.
like everybody can resonate to good music.
cool. Yeah.
So, what is your definition of music? Like earlier we were talking, and you said like music. It is a simple thing. Also, it is just sound if you just hear it. But if you playing it, it can be complex. Like there are many um, facets
Yeah.
to music. So, in your own words, how would you kind of like explain to
Yeah.
like how what music is, and how, because you're also teaching children now,
Yeah.
and that is an amazing thing to do. I think you're just giving it forward, because it's such
Yeah.
an amazing thing. And so how easy it is, or how difficult it is for kids to understand what music is, or you just showing them one facet of music so they can understand that and not make it without making it very complex.
Yeah. I think like it's quite philosophical. Like if you want to talk like what is like music in general, it's like a very personal thing. So because it's so because it's so like almost ever present and like intrinsic in everything, it's like how you relate to it is kind of like what it can become, because you can get anything out of it. Like
Yeah.
if you want, you can make death metal, you can make horrible sounding screechy noises for horror films with music, or you can make the sweetest symphony, or like you know, you
Melodies.
can serenade someone. It's like it fully is a tool for like expressing like the full myriad of like the human experience in that regard. So it's like a really personal thing for everyone. To teach kids is like is a real challenge, and like it can be really challenging, or it can be really easy depending on, like, I found it like some if I it can be I'm learning a lot from it as well, just like I'm relearning that like what a lot of what music should really be, or like what it's really useful for by teaching kids, because like they really resonate to like that light-hearted, joyful, bouncy kind of experience of music, which is like letting go of these like, especially as I mean, you see it like to divert slightly, is like through the ages of children. If you teach like a 5-year-old compared to if you teach like a 15-year-old, there's a huge psychological difference between those two ages.
I would imagine.
And that like you find yourself even like, see, I'm in my 30s now, so I'm like here. Some of them are here and some of them are here, and I like when you're teaching the young kids, it's like they're like super open and like funny, and they're just like they're so free of any of that like self-criticism and stuff, which is like a joy in the music, in the space of teaching, because you can just be goofy and like have fun. they're willing to join in. You don't even have to give them too much of a license to do that. They just take it and run with it, and it makes it a really fun experience. The challenge with them is that they don't have maybe the same attention spans and stuff. It can become chaotic because they have less of that like order. It's that like left brain, right brain balance maybe a little bit that they can't have as much order. But those two energies are kind of like,
Wow.
you know. But then as you get into the older kids, they don't have that same level of like self-criticism. Though they have more like self-criticism, so it's like harder to like
Yeah, it is.
get them out. It's
They
harder.
are more aware of like if they make a mistake, they will actually try to. They don't want to. If you're trying too hard to not make a mistake, you will make a mistake.
I mean, even
But
just
with a kid,
participating.
yeah,
Like even they don't want to necessarily participate because they feel that there's like a risk of being seen, of being like
Or judged. Yeah.
Judged, exactly. The psychology there becomes like, oh, I'm an adult. I'm now judged as an adult by society. It is a very like high self-awareness where it's like counterproductive to like creative pursuit, but also like you understand it from a survival social perspective. It's a tightrope you'll walk. You know, making a fool of yourself is socially like it's dangerous. So we're all walking these kind of tightropes in life
Yes.
and trying to navigate them. But I think actually foolishness is like a real you know, to be able to not take yourself seriously and stuff this is why I think the archetype of like the court jester and the fool, it's like how were there fools in like court, like entertaining like the kings and stuff? Like why are they in these spaces like in history? They've got no right to be there, but they've like they like worked through hierarchies with this ability to like be goofy and stuff. So I think it's like has power, like for sure. But
For
yeah,
sure.
I'm still learning about it. But it's like, yeah, it's interesting how these
So we should
aspects.
not work in a framework, is what you're saying, and especially with music. Music, like you said, is so vast
Yeah.
that you can't like you can go in any direction that you want, and that's like you have the independence to do that. So you
Yeah.
can't. Hey. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that, I guess, if they get pushed into like a classical thing in music, and then it's not
So
really
yeah,
where
then they are
they're-
just trying to walk. Yeah.
But then some
that
people
walk.
thrive in that environment as well. It's that hard, you know. Some people
Like
are
with
tuned for it.
Indian classical music, for example, it is very, again, yeah, it is, you require a lot of practice. It is generational.
Yeah.
So it is like passed
Discipline, though.
down, very high discipline
Strong
is
tradition,
required
though.
and very strong traditions. And it is passed down for generations
Yeah.
from father to for families to like down, you know. And it is very difficult for them to, and it's very secretive, like some of the thing. Just jam with the other person.
Yeah, it
Kind of
almost is
thing.
the same as like the difference between like open source like softwares and like that idea of like or like file sharing
good, yeah.
online. Like, do we keep something, preserve its value, or do we like share it for everyone to like use or to like freely distribute? And what effects does that have? Like, it's like. Yeah, I think there's some arguments for both, like in some ways. Like it's kind of cool that there's space for both in a way, but I do feel that like, yeah, a lot of people don't seem to thrive in that rigid like
Yeah, now
environment.
I think, and that is why it is dying off, unfortunately. This kind of, because people want to venture out and do things and, you know, add their own thing to it. So it is no longer the norm, and unfortunately, probably is dying off. But with that, a lot of probably good music or some secretive kind of art form is dying, I would imagine,
Yeah.
because some things that will not be passed. So if the father feels that the son is not ready for it, or if he's not accepting of it, probably he will not share that thing, and that will probably just leave with him, kind of thing. Anyway, that's the world we live in, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now coming outside of music, so you are overseas. So you are a overseas citizen. You are a British citizen.
Yeah.
But you are an overseas citizen of India. So because your wife is Indian, your children and your one half of your family is Indian. So how does that feel to be to get the best of both worlds? So you are also a British citizen and you are an overseas citizen of India. So
It's a relief, frankly, because it takes a lot of like mental, it takes a lot of time and effort to get it done. And you have to interface with like, you know, these like government agencies, which can be really challenging. but I'm actually like, I know it sounds maybe a little bit like whatever, but like I'm actually quite, I learned a lot through that. Like it was really challenging to get that done, but like it was like I actually like realized like like about keeping calm in these situations that are really just like, why is it so difficult, why are you making it so difficult for me? And I did a lot of growing up about like just a bit of a reality check about the world, like you need to dot your i's and cross your t's a little bit, and like once I sort of like brought myself up to a level, everything kind of
Yeah.
became more smooth. So that was something about me going from my 20s into my 30s. So that was great. Like through that process, it was really cool. But like actually, like the reality of it is really cool. Like now I can come and go freely.
Nice.
Like I can buy land here and stuff. I can have a bank account and all that. I don't have to register anywhere or do anything. So
Good. So
yeah.
for people who thought that getting a visa to go to UK and US was tough, guys, it's the same way the other way around also.
Yeah.
It's not easy to kind of get certain paperwork done
Yeah.
for non-Indians to live and be in India either.
Yeah.
So
I'd say this is the lesser of the two evils. At least you can. I like that here. You can go to the office and you can have a meeting with the people face to face. Like that is just like a really cool thing, because in the UK it's like very. Everything is just only documents.
yeah,
And
everything is
like
online and
100%
digital.
done away from you, unless maybe you're have the kind of connections to have like a really like powerful lawyer and stuff. I don't know. Maybe there are levels where you can get meetings and stuff. I'm sure there are, but like the general layman is not getting a meeting with the Home Office, to discuss a visa application or anything like that. That's like purely, it's like a document.
Yeah, it's all
system.
behind the scenes.
Yeah. Whereas
happen.
here, you meet them, you talk to them. There's that slight human
The
edge
human
to it.
connect is there. Over
Slightly,
there,
yeah.
you're speaking to probably an AI and saying press 1 for this and press 2 for that.
Yeah.
And it's a recorded message that
Yeah.
will tell you what your status is
Yeah.
of your application.
I mean,
and
it
so forth.
really just highlights the difference between the cultures as well. Here, you have that human thing, for better or worse. Like it goes both ways, Like you can, if you just
I
have to
agree.
learn how to work with it, I guess. It's
Yeah.
like,
Sometimes there's a human, but probably is not very helpful anyway. So, yeah.
yeah.
Good, yeah, good. So where in the UK do you come from, Jack? Tell us about this beautiful place. You come from the south of.
Yeah. So like you have states here, like we have counties in the UK. So I'm from Devon. It's like a very rural, like.
It's a
nice-
countryside. It must be
It's
beautiful.
yeah, like I'm from a city. I'm from the suburbs of a city, but it's like surrounded by like national parks and like
Wow.
close to the sea and everything. So it's like was a nice balance actually, like a good kind of best of both situation for like living in the UK. The north of England is quite industrialized, and in some areas like quite like grim. Especially with the weather and all, it can be a bit like grey and feeling a bit industrialized, but like in the south it's really nice. It's retained a lot of like natural beauty.
I was in
It's
Cornwall
raw.
last year, and I got to live in your parents' caravan. It
Yeah.
was such a beautiful experience.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's nice
Just by
over
the
there.
beach.
You can hear the sea now.
Yeah. So is it somewhere down there that you?
It's about an hour's drive from
okay.
there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not far. It's like from here to south kind of distance, I guess. South
Yeah.
Goa.
No, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
really nice. But the sea is very different, I must say. Even the
The Atlantic.
summer sea is like freezing cold
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nothing compared to the Goa beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there were still people and quite adventurous swimming in there. And the currents are stronger there as well, I believe, because it's the Atlantic.
Yeah, it's a whole different scene, though. It's a whole
Yeah,
different energy. The sea, the like, yeah, it's like.
It's
very-
nice, but it's different.
It's like not. I'd say it's more dynamic somehow. Like the weather, also like you can get sun, wind, rain, storm in the
All
summer.
in the yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like same with the sea. You can have like 8-foot swell come in off the Atlantic.
Wow.
There's so many. There's the different energies happening in that ocean to here, where it's somehow more rhythmic and stable. Maybe that's an equatorial thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone has some better explanation.
Yeah, it
but-
is not as intense.
yeah, but it
as-
affects everything. It affects how we are, how we behave, what we get to do, how we plan our days.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
informs our entire like But it's
Yeah.
cool also.
Yeah. So now coming back to Goa, what is now you used to teach in a school in Goa. You're teaching at a really nice Yellow House school now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what age groups do you teach, and what does it entail? This you're a music teacher in a school, so
Yeah. So I think it's like 5 and 6 year olds up until maybe 11 year olds. So it's like
yeah,
primary school basically.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And they are students from all across, like from different, they're international students, and that's the beauty of Goa, I think, where you get people from all walks of life who live in Goa.
Yeah.
So it's quite an international kind of
Yeah,
mix of
basically.
kids.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
are, but actually there are, yeah, from around India and internationally.
from around
Like no,
India.
like local kids from Goa and this particular school, but like, yeah,
So
from
what do you
around
teach?
India.
You teach an instrument, or are you teaching them like music notes and like how does it work? Like when you teach them a
Yeah,
particular
like,
instrument, or does it like you actually teach them the theory of it?
yeah, no, I'm teaching them like, I'm trying to like have more of an experiential, like, approach to it. So, trying to like how I was like talking earlier about how the piano I
Yeah.
experienced it and it got into me.
Uh huh.
So I'm trying to figure out a way that they can best have like musicality. Like ultimately, I can't like teach them to play Chopin or Beethoven on a piano, and there's
Nice.
also having 10 kids in a room. It's impossible for me to like give one the like if I sit down with someone, I can show them guitar and teach them, but 10 kids in a room, like it's impossible to like get everyone from the ground up to a level. So the head teacher over there, Carl, at the same time was like, like let's not like give them all instruments and start doing this. Let's just like let's work on like singing and like foundational stuff. And I think it's a good approach actually. Like for now, it's like we got this voice, so I do a lot of singing, a lot of like this literally connected to us, so we can like do pitching. I can do these like we have our hands for clapping, and we can kind of like get together. We do like songs, and we do a lot of it is performing just us singing, just singing like literally just singing
Beautiful.
together,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
great. But then also I touch on a lot of like rhythmical foundations, like understanding like time, what it means. I give them some like my own thoughts and stuff, and I have a rough structure, but I kind of freestyle it a bit as well. Like I kind of just like, okay, what can I? And I'm quite passionate about it, so there's quite a lot of things that I can like think of to like fill time to do with them that are like that are quite simple things to me, but to get them up to a level, it's quite
Yeah.
yeah. But it's all about just actually doing it with me with them at that level, just
Nice.
experience it and like have them so it's like ultimately like inside them and they're able to just like click on the right beat and like like maybe sing while clicking or clap while singing
Yeah.
and like have that sense of rhythm and what it means and like yeah.
And that's a good foundation, I think, to start off with, to understand the basics
Yeah,
of. Yeah, yeah.
like it's a compromise because it's a school, it's like a group thing, so there's only so much. It's obviously a compromise. Like if I was to sit alone with a person, I could like
Yeah.
teach
So it
them
would
a
be
more
one on one
thing.
is the different thing.
But for that it's cool. It also gives you the thing of being in a group, singing, like experiencing it together,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being in front of people. So it's nice. What chat?
I
What?
guess there are pros and cons to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the limitations are also like benefiting other situations, other things. So it's like yeah, it's cool overall, and I'm still learning.
And you also play at different venues in Goa,
Yeah.
and well, that must be also fun, or maybe not so fun anymore. I don't know. Like,
Like
what is it like?
I'm really blessed. Like like I'd never like feel bad about my situation because Goa's been really good to me. And like for me, like every gig I go to where I'm getting paid, like I've known like waking up at 8 o'clock and getting in a cold van to a building site, or not even 8 o'clock, getting up at 5 o'clock, traveling 2.5 hours to a building site, working a whole day, getting back in the dark, doing it 5 days a week, getting paid like 150 quid a week or whatever, like for that, like in my apprenticeship, like so like I've known that. So this for me feels like great. So I'm glad that I have that kind of like reality check in my foundation of like what like hard manual labor feels like, because this feels really cool. But at the same time, obviously I am ambitious and I do want to get beyond, like maybe like you want to always grow as a person and get to bigger heights and stuff. So I do understand that like I'm on a level that I want to, I want to like go beyond it and like push myself further into like, this profession. So yeah, ultimately it's cool. It gives me a platform to like practice, rehearse, try all new things, like work with people. I'm always like trying to
I think you
improve.
have worked with a lot of the top musicians in Goa. That yeah, so far, yeah, and
Yeah,
also in the you're playing in all the good venues. I think in Goa currently.
yeah, like people, the clients are really nice. Like generally, like I get some good bookings. I've just started to like in the last few years be a bit more brave and like say no to like certain prices and like cut myself off from certain. Try to level up a little bit, like try to understand. Okay, you've increased your value, you've invested in yourself, and I have done. I've spent a lot of money on my setup, and I like pushing myself forward into these like new areas. So I'm trying to especially like these days I feel that now that like, oh, I'm not getting these bookings anymore, but I'm getting all these bookings and there's like maybe a couple less of them, but they pay double or triple or
Yeah,
quadruple. But it's like it's that that leap of like
yeah.
believing in yourself and like valuing yourself, and like I'm going through that at the moment, which is cool.
Which is
It's like,
nice. It's a transition. I mean,
yeah,
and everything should move. Otherwise, you feel stuck if you're
yeah,
just doing the same thing.
it's scary.
And I noticed that you bought some good new equipment and stuff like
Yeah,
over the last few months,
yeah,
like new pedals and things.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
got
new
into
guitar as well. Yay!
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got into like looping and like so I can create these like sort of like different layers of my sound and like record on the spot and be more sort of interactive, which is cool. I'm still learning with that as well. That's also like
nice.
can be a blessing and a curse depending on your situation, but it's cool. I'm really enjoying it. Like it's like pushing me into a new space. So yeah, you have to
And
keep moving forward.
what do you think about the music scene in Goa? I mean, of course, the music scene is always thriving. Goa is known for to be like the music hub for a particular kind of music in India.
Yeah.
But there's two types of music now. There's like this EDM, electronic dance music with like high BPMs. And then there's this nice, and I like the other one, which is like this live music where people sing and dance, but it's play instruments and live music that is called as.
Yeah.
So I think earlier Goa was very. There was always these two music scenes were quite parallel, but over the years I have seen the EDM, the electronic music, is actually kind of getting more traction.
Yeah.
I think the young generation, the Gen Z, is leaning more towards the electronic music. It's a worldwide trend, or for sure. But in what's the scene like in Goa? Like you should know better, but what's happening?
Yeah, I there definitely are like opposing cultural forces. A lot of people would speak really strongly about electronic dance music and its like negative effects on
Yeah.
society and stuff. And I can understand where they're coming from, like from different kind of like perspectives. I do feel that like it's somewhat like monstrous, like from the outside. Like if you hear a
If you
party
yeah,
happening and you're not in
for
front of the
sure.
speakers, the sound is like cacophonous and it's like the local people, and it's so jarring to have that energy happening in like a village. So I totally get why people are like, what the hell is going on? But then on the other side of it, I can also understand that like it's an art form and lots of people like spend like so many hours in a studio creating these like these like these are tracks and all, and it's like it's actually quite cool. It's also a very fun experience to be part of that like dance floor, like people together. It's quite like tribal, and it satisfies a human need that we have to like get together and like like hear drums and be tribal. So it's giving us what uh, modern society has taken from us in a roundabouts way. Like it's taken the tribe from us, but this is a way it's
So people
providing it.
resonate with that as like the yeah, because it's quite like psy trance music, which originated in Goa, has got quite a cult following. Like people come into Goa, I've noticed from all around the world,
Yeah.
just for a psy trance party. Like I don't some I can't wrap my head around that, but because I don't understand that music at
Yeah.
all. Maybe I'm not very tribal in that way, but I do. But I don't understand
No,
like
I
how
think
it can be.
it's fair enough. There's people who really enjoy EDM but don't enjoy Psy also. Like Psy is in particular a very particular kettle of fish. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't have to
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like you
It's
don't. It's
crazy.
like fine also to not like it. You can
Yeah,
still be
yeah.
tribal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what and what is the live music like? Is it thriving in Goa? What is the scene
There's
like?
pockets of like it where it's really nice. Like Arumbo open mic every Monday is like a really amazing experience. Like that is something like in the world which happens. Like it's a tradition which is formed, which is like really nice, and it's got like really bad sound. Like it's got really, it's a mess.
But
It's a
it's about the
mishmash of like,
camaraderie and the
yeah,
of the people coming together, isn't it?
yeah. Like that is like really has an essence of like live. It's a live essence which is really beautiful, and that's great. That happens in Goa. I love that. There's also a lot of musicians around who can. There's a lot of work. There must be like hundreds of musicians earning a living in Goa, maybe thousands, like up and down the entire state. You know, who make a living out of music. So as an economy here, it's still pretty good. It being a tourist place and all. So that's there. Obviously, it's in terms of like its cultural like appreciation, it's gone down. Like there's no live band scene here like you might find in a city or something, or
Yeah.
it's not like a place where you can go out, oh, what band are we
So
seeing this weekend? It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like
So
that.
there's different demographic of people who kind of who enjoy the live music scene,
Yeah.
and there's a whole different genre of people who like the whole electronic psytrance or EDM and what have you. I don't. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that it's a different genre
Yeah.
altogether. So yeah,
But bands are very difficult to like have. They're like, it's like, you know how running a restaurant, there's lots of moving parts. You know, there's lots of different things that can happen. It's quite a challenge, you know. So a band is like really similar. It's like so even your own individual part is quite complex. You have all this equipment, like keeping it in tune, keeping it in order, learning how to play it. And then there's like
yeah.
actually like running it, you other people coming together to collaborate in these situations. It's really difficult, like socially also bands struggle, and like I think DJs are more like work in isolation, so
Yeah.
they're able to like,
So they can really,
it's
yeah,
like
get back.
very calculable. It's like I can pay this one guy this amount, he's going to come and play on this speaker which costs this amount. It's like it's very left-brained, like that kind of environment compared to like the music thing, which is like a bit like wavy. People
Yeah.
are a little bit out of tune. It's got that humanistic thing, which it doesn't like. It's not as like easy to like
Yeah.
monetize either. It's like it's just, yeah, it just works. I can see why it's working, the DJ thing, because it's just everything is streamlined and like got
There's
technology, and it's like
less
it's
room for error in that. So in whatever
yeah,
mood you're in, the music is still the same. But I think with a musician, it's very intuitive. It's like depends on what mood he is in that day, and you know what energy he's putting into that music or that instrument,
yeah,
and that is kind of exposed to the audience.
yeah,
So, but with electronic music, it's already recorded, and he's pushing play. Of course, he's doing whatever else he's doing,
yeah.
managing the sound. But yeah, with the musician, it is like that energy exchange of whatever that person is feeling at that time. No, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
whole different thing going on, and yeah,
So
it's
things could go in depends on what mood you're in that day. And I
yeah,
can feel it also when you play. Like on some days you can play the same kind of music, but I can feel it. It sounds different on different days.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like that. It's like it's a
yeah,
funny
yeah.
thing, man. It's a lot. It's a big energy thing with music, which is kind of the beauty of it, I guess. It's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like that. It's what also gives you. It's like it's risky, you know. It's what makes it so amazing. Like when the band is playing, it's like the concept of like the band. It's like, and people would come along and everyone joins the party, and it's like horns come out. It like lifts it to another level. Like, oh my god, like trumpets. It's almost like regal. It's like, and then like violins. It's like all these amazing like instruments that we have. It's like it is something like incredibly like human, and that's why I think it touches us. It's like I remember seeing my friend's band live once, really killing it at a festival, and I started crying because I know all these guys, and I was like, just the it was so glorious, you know, to see
Wow.
people
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
who've like got in this van and like been working so long on stuff, and like to see them like doing this
Finally, the moment has
in their
arrived.
glory,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like glorious. Whereas like for a DJ, I'm not sure if it feels as glorious. You
Yeah,
know, it's not
yeah,
as much
yeah.
of a battle, maybe. You know, so yeah. Ultimately, I think the band thing is like for me peak experience, like human in a human sense, live music. But Yeah, the DJ thing, I guess it works. It serves a function, you know, like a base level tribal kind of like, let's just like caveman
Yeah,
vibe. It's like, it's okay, I guess. So like,
yeah.
yeah, for some people.
And also, besides music, your life, you're still leaning more towards sustainability. You have a green thumb. You like to, you mentioned you like to have your own permaculture garden someday,
Yeah.
and you are a very hands-on guy. Like, yeah, and that comes because I think you from early you started being very hands-on.
And like, it's funny, like my name, I've thought about this before. Like, my name is Jack, and there's a saying, no jack of all trades. So it like, I've thought about this, and now it's resonated as a theme through my life because I've realized that like I am not specialized, and as my personality as well, I'm very like, I'm like a freak among normal people, and I'm a normal person around the freaks. Like if I go to Arundel, I'm not much of a hippie there, but I'm in this side, and I'm kind of more of a hippie than most people this side. So I'm like always on that marginal of like being a bit of everything. Same like I really enjoy football. I love football. I love the Premier League, but I'm also like really into like these stuff like permaculture concepts and stuff. So I think that that is what worked for me. It what resonated for me in my life, and I think it means like if you think about it like in physics as well. Like if you specialize, it's almost like an arrow. Like you're specialized, you can like go forward in that
Yeah,
area quicker. Like you can almost become more. But then as you go over time, you become like maybe stretched, or maybe like also dependent on everything to the left and right of you.
yes,
You can break. Like it can like
absolutely.
over specialization can also be a bit of a curse.
You're
Like it's
very narrow-minded than
I think we
approach
need
towards
some
anything. Yeah, yeah.
specialization in society. Like some of us should like be specialized for some tasks. Like it's great if like some people can do like brain surgery better than anyone else in the world and all that. But like yeah, for like the average person, I think to have like a myriad of different skills, like a strong foundation, maybe built like a pyramid is like ideal, like really strong, wide foundation, and then like build up towards some sort of like specialist like idea that's supported by all these other things is
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
helpful. No, like especially if you want to like talking about gardening, being off grid, that kind of thing. Like it's just really helpful to be able to like go to the hardware store, pick up something, do the job yourself. I struggle a little bit to like fit that concept into like modern life. Like I also want to like propel myself financially, so I'm able to like maybe buy some land, actually live in these kind of like concepts out. I feel like I need to sort of abandon the pursuit of them in the beginning somewhat to make that happen, which is ironic. But like maybe that doesn't have to be. Maybe I'm misleading myself, but I don't have as much time for gardening and stuff for that at the moment. Like I do have a small garden, but I'm doing it like very slowly in
Well,
what I can
that's
do,
how
I'm
it
doing,
starts, I
and I
guess.
can't
Yeah,
like be out there every morning like doing all this because it's like not. I just don't really have the time right now, and also it's like I have in my mind it's a rental house. Like how much time can I put into this? Permaculture is like permanent though. It's
yeah,
like you're thinking of succession. So I think my whole life I'm trying to treat as like a big permaculture kind of like project, like growing it. Like I don't mind also doing some gardening here and there because I'm like also learning as I'm doing that, building up them skills. Composting, of course, like you just do it. You should be doing that anyway. Like I have
yeah.
a compost situation at home, but yeah, like just learning to like. I've done it in a few houses here. I've like spent a lot of time in the garden, doing things. Some failures, some successes, but then being kicked out the house and being like, I don't regret it because I actually learned a few things. It's cool. I
Yeah,
understand
everything
now.
is a learning lesson, I
But
guess.
at the
Yeah,
same time, I do feel like maybe, maybe I should have just been working on my like
yeah. You're
music,
investing
for
so much of
example.
your energy into something, and then if you have to leave that or move out of and move to a different house, you can't move your garden with you. So that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah,
like annuals are great. If you can get some annuals going and stuff, it's really such a nice thing to have a garden. It's just pleasing. Now, I think there's that idea of like retiring in a garden. You see old men gardening, and I think that is like just the ideal situation. You know, it's like being able to have worked enough time to then nurture these like plants, which just like make you feel good. You know, you're in a space, you're in an environment which is like energetically like pleasing. It's very spiritual. I think it's like a very life. It's just life, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Growing, it's like the energy again. It's like just insane how, and you are to realize that you have done this. It is part of
yeah.
your kind of.
I think if I'm an old man and I've got enough time to be out in the garden gardening, I think I'll be enough for me. I'll be happy. Like if I can just chill, like do some gardening, then it'll
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
success. I think.
Cool, man. Yeah, it doesn't take much then. Just need to do it right. No, that is, yeah. Cool. Thank you, Jack, so much
Thank
for
you.
coming by and giving us your time and sharing with us. I hope all the best for your teaching the students. This is a wonderful thing to do, and I hope you thrive and your garden thrives.
Thanks, man.
And for those of you who want to meet Jack and say hi to Jack, he's here almost every Saturday afternoons, except for today afternoon, I guess. But otherwise, mostly every Saturday afternoons throughout the year, Jack is playing at Bean Me Up, or you can follow him on Instagram. We'll put the link, and you can follow him around, see where he's playing, go and meet Jack. Yeah. So thank you all for watching, and thank you, Jack, once again.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.